everyone, my name is Irina Atarova. I'm a family lawyer. I work in the lawyer firm of the lawyer Alexey Nikolaevich Skryabin. Our lawyer firm specializes in providing legal services for divorce and recovery of alimony. Our lawyers provide support in court processing through our Ukraine. In this video, I will tell you how to dissolve a marriage with a foreigner, how to determine jurisdiction in case of divorce with a foreign element, how to dissolve a marriage with a foreigner concluded in Ukraine, what document confirm a divorce from a foreigner. It is possible to dissolve a marriage concluded in another country. What documents are needed for a divorce from a foreigner? How to divorce without consent? What are the advantages of a divorce in Ukraine? Is an apostille needed when divorcing a foreigner? Is it possible to dissolve a marriage without being present? It is possible to file a divorce from a foreigner in court. How to file for divorce if the husband is abroad? What is the cost of a divorce? Can Ukrainian citizens get divorced abroad? Be sure to watch this video to the end and learn a lot of interesting things about divorce from a foreigner. Subscribe to my channel to always receive updated information in the field of family law and contacts for contacting me about paid consultation under this video. Divorce with a foreigner in Ukraine. Divorce from a foreigner is no longer a rarity in Ukraine. Open borders, frequent business trips, communication on the internet have become the reason for the marriage with a foreigner. The percentage of divorces among marriage with foreigner is not less than among marriage between Ukrainians. Registration of divorce from foreigners is a rather complicated process and requires knowledge not only regarding Ukraine legislation, but also international one. Therefore, we recommend that you seek help from a family lawyer who already had experience in solving cases of divorce from a foreigner. A good family lawyer will quickly and effectively file a divorce from a foreigner. Determination of jurisdiction in case of divorce from a foreigner element in Ukraine. Determine the jurisdiction of a divorce case from a foreign affects the authority who which you should apply for divorce. When divorcing a marriage with a foreigner, it is important to take into account international legislation, contracts and agreements that establish certain rules for filing documents for divorce. Ukrainian legislation provides for filing documents for divorce at the place of residence of the dependent. For example, if your husband is registered in Russia, then you should file for divorce that country. At the same time, there are conditions under which you can file for divorce in Ukraine. How to dissolve a marriage with a foreigner concluded in Ukraine. Marriage with the foreigners that were concluded on the territory of Ukraine don't require additional actions and paperwork such as affixing an apostille stamp and the translating documents. A marriage with a foreigner entered into Ukraine determined in the same manner as a marriage between Ukrainians. You can dissolve your marriage with a foreigner through the registry office in the absence of children under 18 and consent of the spouses, and through the court without the consent of spouses and the presence of children under 18. A document confirming divorce from a foreigner in Ukraine. Upon divorce at the registry office, you receive a divorce certificate on which you can affix an apostille confirming the authenticity in the document and the international level and provide the document to your spouse. Upon divorce through a court, you receive a court decision on divorce. Based on this document, you can register a divorce at the registry office and receive a extract from the registry office. Dissolution of a marriage with a foreigner contracted in another country in Ukraine. A marriage concluded with a foreigner on the territory of another country, for example in Canada or Italy, is terminated with the execution of translation with the document and affixing the apostille stamp. In order to file a divorce from a foreigner, in this case you will need to translate the marriage certificate into Ukrainian and put an apostille on it. Our family lawyers will help you quickly and effectively translate documents and affix an apostille on them. Divorce from a foreigner in Ukraine. To file a divorce from a foreigner in Ukraine, if the marriage was concluded in another country, when there must be legal grounds. The grounds for filing documents for divorce from a foreigner in Ukraine are as follows: filing documents not only for divorce but also for correcting alimony living with the spouse. For some time on the territory of Ukraine, the spouse had Ukraine registration in the past. If you and your spouse did not live in Ukraine and he did not leave Ukrainian registration, then you can apply to the court for divorce and for the recovery of alimony. Even this issue of collecting alimony is not relevant for you, then such filing makes is positive divorce foreign in Ukraine. In the process of solving the case, you can withdraw the application for alimony and issue only divorce in that case. The court may refuse to consider the case a divorce from a foreigner, and in this case will be necessary to resolve the case in the Court of Appeal. Having provided in the Court of Appeal that you have the right to divorce a foreigner in Ukraine, you can complete the divorce processing. A good divorce lawyer will help you with this, who will provide you have the right to divorce a foreigner in Ukraine and successfully complete the divorce case. Documents for divorce from a foreigner in Ukraine. The package of documents for divorce with a foreign citizen is the same as with Ukrainian citizens. The only difference between a divorce from a foreigner is needed to translate documents for divorce into Ukrainian and affix an apostille stamp in case of marriage in another country. If marriage with a foreign is concluded in Ukraine, then translation apostille and not required divorce document for a foreign include marriage document, translation and apostille, passport and copies of spouses, spouse registration date, contact details on the foreigner's spouse. Family lawyer for divorce from a foreign in Ukraine. Divorce from a foreigner can be complicated by the lack of communication with the foreign spouse, his refusal to divorce, as well as various mental and physiological difficulties. To divorce a foreigner without additional material, emotional and time costs, contacts family lawyer with specialize in divorce from foreigners. An international divorce attorney will help you solve your divorce case from start to finish. You cannot take part in the paperwork and court hearing. To do this, you should conclude an agreement with a lawyer to provide legal service and represent your interests in divorce case from a foreigner. How to divorce a foreigner without consent in Ukraine. If you are married to a foreigner who does not consent to divorce, when you need to file for divorce and notify the foreigner's spouse. If you have a relationship with the foreigner, then you should translate the documents that you are filing for divorce and send them to the place of residence of your spouse. If you don't have information about the place of residence of your spouse or contact with him is lost, then you provide the court with the information that you know, because once you lived with your spouse. After nothing, dispose of divorce, the court makes an absence decision of the marriage. Apostille upon divorce from a foreigner in Ukraine. Apostille on divorce documents is a necessary condition without which a divorce from a foreigner is not possible if your marriage was concluded in another country, Georgia, Turkey, the United States of America, or in other countries. Apostille affixing is done on the translation of documents that are necessary for a divorce from a foreigner. The apostille stamp is affixed at the Ministry of Justice of Ukraine. There is a rather bureaucratical procedure that requires legal knowledge and experience in the area. Therefore, I will recommend you contact a good family lawyer who will help you quickly affix an apostille to your documents and file a divorce from a foreigner. To dissolve a marriage with a foreigner without being present in Ukraine. Not always a spouse who lives abroad has the ability of desire to come to Ukraine in order to get a divorce. This may be due to lack of travel time, unwillingness to see your spouse, lack of material opportunities, unwillingness to get divorced. It is possible to dissolve a marriage with a foreigner without being present. There are two options for registering a divorce. If the spouse agrees to divorce, written consent is required. If there is not consent to divorce, it is necessary to inform the spouse about divorce. The first option for divorce is the most optimal, since it is less expensive in terms of time and money. In the second case, it is necessary to send a claim for divorce to the spouse of the foreigner as well as attach all the documents. Sending documents to another country is costly and time consuming. Since the court is not always in a hurry to deal with documentary issues. When divorcing a foreigner, we recommend that you contact family lawyers who will take the divorce case under their control and will do everything possible to speed up the divorce process. Registration of a divorce from a foreigner through the court in Ukraine. Registration of a divorce from a foreigner through a court involves almost the same sequence of actions as a court decision on a divorce case from Ukraine citizens. The difference between the dissolution of a marriage with a foreigner concluded in another country is the needed to translate all documents that are necessary for divorce into Ukrainian and affix an apostille of their document. For the rest, registration of a divorce from a foreigner in a court as well as divorce from Ukraine requires the preparation of statement of claim, collection of documents and payment of cover fee. File for divorce if your husband is abroad in Ukraine. If your husband lives abroad and he doesn't have the opportunity to come to Ukraine to formalize the divorce, then you should not despair. In this case, you can file for divorce without your spouse present. To do this, you should properly prepare the statement of claim for divorce, collect all the necessary documents and submit them to the judicial authorities. The absence of a husband in Ukraine can delay divorce process and the solution of all documentary issues regarding divorce. The cost of divorce from a foreigner in Ukraine. The cost of divorce from a foreigner is determined by several main factors. The cost of document translation is necessary. Future of the divorce process. The presence of common children under 18 years of age. The consent on the supposed to divorce. The presence of all the necessary documents, the need to resolve related issues, the division of property, the collection of alimony, the determination of the place of residence of children. Also keep in mind that you will need to pay the court fee for deciding the divorce case and affixing the apostille stamp on the documents. Family lawyers consultation in Ukraine. A family lawyer will help you to file a divorce from a foreigner, even if he is against divorce. His responsibilities of a family lawyer include the choice of tactics of divorce, collection and preparation for all necessary documents, submissions of documents to the court, participation in court hearing, in a divorce case with a foreign element, registration of a divorce and obtaining a document, confirming the dissolution in marriage. Don't waste your time and energy on your own dissolution of marriage. Will foreigner seek help from a good lawyer who will file a divorce even without your personal participation. Divorce of Ukrainian citizens abroad. If you live abroad while you have Ukrainian citizenship, you can dissolve your marriage on the territory of Ukraine and according to Ukrainian law. In what cases it is possible for citizens of Ukraine who live outside the country to divorce in the presence of minor children, divorce without the consent of the spouse, divorce without the presence of the client in court. The spouses do not always have the opportunity or desire to come to Ukraine to obtain divorce. Therefore, we offer the online divorce service without the need to be on territory of Ukraine. In order to quickly formalize the divorce without even arriving in Ukraine, remotely via internet, you should conclude an agreement with a family lawyer who will take overall the responsibilities for divorce. Our lawyers will help you arrange a turnkey divorce without wasting time and money. You will be able to continue living and working in your usual place, and family lawyer will resolve the divorce case from a Ukrainian who lives abroad. Frequently asked questions of our client and answers of their law from scribbling partners. Can I file for divorce in Ukraine if my husband is a foreign, an Italian citizen? Yes, you can file for divorce from a citizen of another country in Ukraine. To do this, you need to collect a certain package of documents and submit them to the court. Is it possible to dissolve a marriage with a foreigner in the connection with him in laws? Yes, you can divorce a foreign citizen if you don't communicate with him and don't know about his place of residence. In this case, it's better to contact a good divorce advocate who will help you quickly resolve the divorce case. Consulting a professional divorce lawyer is a guarantee of your success. Contact the lawyers of our company in any way convenient for you. Call or write or message us. We will help you resolve your issue quickly and efficiently. If you have a need for advice or paid service of lawyer, then contact the contacts listed under this video. If you have any questions, then write them in the comments to this video and I will definitely answer you. If this video was useful for you and you learned something new for yourself about divorce from a foreigner, then like this video, subscribe to my channel, share with your friends, press the bell so as not to miss new videos, and see you in new videos.